Hello Bayonne staff, this is the Start Strong training for the fall of 2022.
In this video, I will go over what's new for PAN, the Pearson Access responsibilities for test administrators, signing into Pearson Access Next, starting a test session, accommodation indicator, unlocking and locking a test unit, monitor testing, resuming a test, student view, and troubleshooting. Let's start with what's new. Student test status in PAN. Student testing progress can be monitored on the student's in-session screen, and a student's test status in PAN will automatically change to resume if the student exits the test prematurely. This allows the student to log in again without intervention from the test administrator. And also new is student test status dashboard. So this includes student name, test status, test duration, test source, battery, and test progress. Let's take a look at what this looks like. So right now I'm logged in to a training version of Pearson Access Next. And as you can see, I logged in as one student and answered some questions. And as it said, if a student exits the test prematurely, it'll say resumed, which it does. It'll also tell you the test duration, battery life, and test progress. So these are some new features in Pearson Access Next that you can see on the screen. Some other new features are auto timeout, zoom to 500%, text to speech, and battery indicator. So the auto timeout, if a student has been inactive for about 20 minutes, an inactivity timer will pop up and give a 30-second pop-up warning to the student. If the student does not move the mouse to restart the timer, the application will shut down. The student can zoom to 500%. And then we have text to speech. So students can actually select a chunk of text and click listen to hear the selected text. And then a new battery indicator will display in the gray header in the TestSnap app when a student is actively testing. It does not apply to iOS testing devices. The next portion of the video is responsibilities for test administrators. We're going to go over what test administrators will need to do. You'll need to sign into Pearson Access Next, start a test session, unlock and lock each test, lock the test unit for any absent students, monitor testing, ensure each student has completed the unit, and lock the test unit. So let's first sign into Pearson Access Next. So you can go to the NJSLA Resource Center or go to http://pearsonaccessnext.com.
I'm going to begin by signing in to the Pearson Access Next portal. I'm going to select New Jersey, click Sign In, and sign in using my username and password. Kindly check that you are not experiencing sign-in issues. If you are, please email me at jbergantino@bboed.org. The next thing you want to do is make sure that on the home page you choose Start Strong 2022-2023. On the home page, you also need to make sure you have the correct school selected.
The next thing we're going to talk about is starting a test session. You're going to find test session on the left-hand side of the home screen, and you're going to select testing students in sessions. Then, once you're in that landing page, under the session list, you're going to click Add a Session. You can type the session name as indicated on the student testing ticket, and then check the session name and click Add Selected. Remember, if you are starting multiple test sessions, you may add more than one to the session list. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So again, I'm going to go over to the left under Testing. I'm going to select Students in Sessions. And I'm going to select Add a Session. This box will pop up. I have a choice. I can search for the session by name or click the filter icon to search using filters. So depending on your school will depend on how you search. You will have testing tickets with the name of your test to search. And again, remember, if you are testing multiple, if you're starting multiple test sessions, you can add more than one. So if you were doing more than one, you could select more than one. I'm just going to select one for now, and then you're going to click Add Selected. Now, normally this would all be gray because it would be ready. I was playing around in the website, so that's why it looks like one student has already started. But normally this would all be gray, which indicates the students are ready. They have not started, so this bar should all look gray. So to start a test session, again, before the students can sign into TestNav, the test session must be started. Test administrators must start the session. A session should not be started until the actual day students begin testing. On the Students in Session screen, locate the session name and click on it. Click the green Start button. To start multiple tests, select Combine View from the top of the session list. Click Start All Sessions. So if you look at the pictures on the screen, okay, you would click the Start button, okay? Or if you are starting multiple test sessions, you would click Start All Sessions. So again, I'm in the training site, so it's going to look a little bit different, but I'm going to show you what it looks like. So in the training site, I've already started this session. Right here, you would click the green Start Session. So pretend this is green, and we're gonna click Start Session. So that means that that session has been started for students. Accommodation indicators. If students have an accommodation, you will view a symbol next to their name in the Students in Session screen. The symbol will indicate which accommodated PNP form the student will receive. Hover over the symbol to see the listed accommodation. TTS stands for text-to-speech, S stands for Spanish Transadaptation, and STTS stands for text-to-speech in Spanish. So let's now talk about unlocking a test unit. A session must be started and test unit unlocked before students can begin testing. So units can be unlocked for all students in the session or individually locked. But please note, for Start Strong assessments, each content area test consists of only one unit. So to unlock a test, on the Students in Session screen, locate the testing unit, click and hold the lock switch and slide it to the right to place the unit in the unlock position. When the unit is complete, you lock the session. If you have an absent student, lock the unit for any student who is absent at the individual student level. Locate the student's name, click on the arrow next to the student's status and select lock. Okay, so if you look over here, you would just toggle these over to the right to unlock and left to lock. And again, if you have specific students who are absent, you would have to individually lock that test for that student. So in the arrow next to the student status, so it might say ready, you would click that arrow and click lock individually for those students. So let's just look at the screen as to what it looks like to lock and unlock. So again, once you start that test, before you start that test, it should be locked, and you would just simply toggle over to the right to unlock it, toggle to the left to lock it again at the end of the test. Monitoring testing. You should be actively monitoring testing for your students. Circulate the room to ensure each student is recording their answers in the correct session. Keep time. Redirect a student's attention to the test without coaching or assisting the student in any way. Clarify general directions, but do not clarify vocabulary, words, phrases, and terminology used in test items. You can monitor the student testing progress on the Students in Session screen. You can refresh your browser window or select the refresh button to see updated information. You can also monitor them in a combined view. Here is a chart which explains the test status: ready, active, exited, resumed, resumed upload, completed, and marked complete. Some other great features of monitoring testing. For active or completed tests, you can select the test status hyperlink to view the student test and item progress pop-up window. And it displays a bar graph with the number of items answered, visited, and remaining. And a new student test status dashboard is available also. In the single session view, select the pop-out button to the right of the session to access the student test status dashboard. Note, the pop-out button will only appear if the session has 50 or fewer students. The dashboard will open in a new tab within the browser. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So you can click refresh throughout the test to see your student's test status. This bar will change throughout the test, and you have a student test key over here. You can also click here, and that will open a new pop-up window to give you a more specific detailed look at what place your students are at. So it'll give you a test status, test duration, the battery life of their device, and a more detailed look at their test progress. You can also go over here to click refresh, and you can toggle over here to change your view. Resuming a test. A student's test status in PAN will automatically change to resumed if the student exits the test prematurely. This allows the students to log in again without intervention from the test administrator. Student view. Here's what a student testing ticket looks like. Students would log in using their username and password. On the Chromebooks, instruct students to power on the Chromebooks. Students should not sign into their Chromebook. They would click on the Apps menu on the bottom left of the screen and choose the TestNav app. Ensure the TestNav sign-in screen says New Jersey. If it does not, go to the drop-down menu and select Choose a Different Customer. Then select New Jersey. Let's take a look at what it looks like for your students to log into the TestNav app. So you want to make sure again that your students are signed out of their Chromebooks, and you're going to make sure that they scroll down to the bottom left of their screen and click on the apps icon. Then you're going to make sure that they select TestNav, and the TestNav app will load. They may need to select New Jersey. If not, when the sign-on screen comes on, they are going to put in their username and password from their student test ticket and click Sign In. Once students have logged into the TestNav app, they will get a Welcome New Student screen. This next section is for grades 7 through high school math assessments. The grades 7 through high school math assessments include two sections, a non-calculator section and a calculator section. Students must submit the non-calculator section before accessing the calculator section. Once the non-calculator section is submitted, students will not be able to revisit those questions. The calculator will be available on the screen for the calculator section. How to submit. Step 1. Click on the Review drop-down menu button at the top left corner of the test. Scroll to the bottom and select End of Section. Step 2. On the End of Section screen, click on the green Submit Section button. Students may review responses by clicking on the Review button if unit testing time remains and he or she wishes to review his or her answers. Step 3. Click on the blue Yes button on the section Exit Warning pop-up window. This will take the student to the screen for the next unit section. Submit final answers. All units. Step 1. Click on the Review drop-down menu button at the top left corner of the test. Scroll down to the bottom. Select End of Section. Step 2. On the End of Section screen, click on the green Submit Final Answers button. Students may review responses by clicking on the Review button if unit testing time remains and he or she wishes to review his or her answers. Submit final answers all units. Step 4. Click on the green Yes, Submit Final Answers button on the Test Submit Warning pop-up window. Let's go over some troubleshooting and frequently asked questions. If a student repeatedly is exited from TestNav, here are some quick troubleshooting steps that may be followed by proctors while the test administrator continues to actively monitor other students. Have the student try signing in again. The test administrator should confirm the test is in a status of resumed in PAN first. Restart TestNav. Restart the testing device. Move the student to a different device. If possible, choose one that has been used successfully for testing. Note, when working with Pearson regarding technology issues, a troubleshooting step may involve having the student log back into TestNav using the same device. Carefully monitor the actions the student is taking when signing in or navigating through the test. For example, making sure the student is not powering the device off, intentionally exiting, attempting to access another program, or selecting certain keystrokes. Technology problems affecting a single student. The testing administrator must contact the school testing coordinator immediately. Note the time remaining on the clock. Have the student refresh. If that does not work, resume the test. If that does not work, have the student log out and log in. If that does not work, swap the device. If that does not work, do not have the student submit. Do not allow the student to leave the testing room. Document the situation in writing. Wait for further assistance from coordinators. Technology problems affecting multiple students. The testing administrator must contact the school testing coordinator immediately. Pause testing in the room until the problem is resolved. Note the time remaining on the clock. Once issues have been resolved, resume students' tests. Testing administrator must inform students how many minutes remain in the unit. The testing administrator must write on the board the updated start time and stop time of the unit. Document the situation in writing. Wait for further assistance from coordinators. Thank you for listening. Please reach out to your school testing coordinator with any questions you may have.